What is something people need to stop romanticizing? First time sex. Sometimes it doesn't go well. Lack of sleep. Being OCD. There's a difference between being neat and particular and a clean freak and having crippling and wanted thoughts, behaviors and actions. In one case you're just extremely anal. The other, more serious case, you have a genuine mental health diagnosis. Bipolar disorder is not chic. Ridiculously expensive weddings. Average cost of a wedding in my state is around $60. 000. A lot of people take out loans and debt for one day of living way outside their means. Serial killers. It's important to educate people about them. But the people who talk about wanting to FCK them online are crazy. Abusive relationships. If you're constantly arguing about anything and everything, calling each other names, causing drama for the sake of it, or guilt tripping each other to do what you want, then you're not good together. Both or only one of you doing this is not okay and not cute. It's abuse. Also, mental illness and faking it for attention. Stockholm Syndrome. Living those overly stressed lifestyles. Especially in college. Congratulations on your pulling the 6th full nighter to cram even more for your finals. But I'd rather get a decent night's sleep and study with a clear brain. Mental health problems. Falling in love with a bad boy and hoping he'll change his ways for you. Don't romanticize toxic relationships. Or relationships of any kind that don't benefit either of the parties. Both people in a relationship need to be comfortable and happy with one another, otherwise it's a shitty show. Edit. Holy shitty, this blew up my first popular comment. Child beauty pageants. Drug abuse as a way to deal with mental health in rap. Earlier times. People just forget the bad stuff and never consider that it was bad back then too. Depression and suicide. It's not charming. It's not poetic. It sucks and is not cool. Being overly busy committing to everything someone asks for. People who have activities every night and weekend stress me out. Be at peace. Just learn to be at peace. Fighting. Possessive behavior. Semicolon. No. It's not cute when your so gets jealous because of everyone that looks at you. It's freaking sick. I mean, honestly, if you don't trust me enough to know I would not cheat on you, we should see other people. Depression and other mental illnesses. Anxiety. I'm sure someone else has already said this, but it can be said again. People on the internet seem to think it's some kind of trend to have anxiety and panic attacks, and they throw terms around like it's nothing. Anxiety isn't a joke, and it isn't something people should claim to have without any reason other than that they feel stressed out. Also, I totally understand that there are plenty of people on the internet who really do have anxiety. War. Huh. Good god, y'all. What is IT good for? The mommy needs wine. Movement. Your kids will be shitty heads sometimes, it's all part of it. If they're shitty heads all the time, that's your fault, and if you're drinking all the time to deal with them, then you have a problem and it's not funny. I've seen some movies where a guy kidnaps a girl and she falls in love with him. Why? Stockholm Syndrome? Affairs. Staying at work late. So many people do it and brag about it. But it's saying you can't get your shit done during normal business hours. So either you are dumb, lazy, or overworked. None of which is something to be proud of. The latter probably matches up with toxic work environment where managers get all pissy if they see people leave before 5 or EOB. One of my old VPs put it this way for me: I don't care when you show up or leave. Just get your shit done. I'm gonna get what I need from you. The abusive relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn. Love at first sight. Not that romantic. It's just physical attraction. Lucky you if that person is also someone you end up having lots in common with. Drinking. Poverty. The way society is obsessed with personality, regardless of character or even competency. Getting recognition and rising in the ranks is more about how you can sell a pen rather than productivity or expertise. God forbid you end a meeting without making a decision on a complex problem that requires research. You're seen as wishy-washy. They're going to go ahead with the plan from the guy confident and running the train off the tracks. I'm pretty sure it was already mentioned, but still. Fighting for love. And by this I mean fighting with the person you like. Flashy displays of wealth and the celebrities that take part. The worst has to be singing about it. Act like you've been there before. Humble up. Think about what you can do for others. Not just masking your insecurities. Anxiety. Sick of people making anxiety look all cute and adorable when in reality it's panic attacks and the crippling pressure of overthinking on a constant. Leaving you exhausted but won't let you sleep because you are still panicking. Proposing in front of a large group of people. Edit. OMG, this post got big thanks for the silver kind stranger. Cynicism under the guise of realism. I often see younger people acting jaded in what I suspect is a defense against being seen as childish. The unromantic skeptic is himself romanticized. Those stories where some kid sells lemonade to pay for their mom's cancer treatment. That's a failure of a system. Not a feel-good story. Female characters being abusive to their boyfriend isn't abuse. It's romantic. Suicide. Pets. I know sounds ridiculous, but there is no such thing as an easy pet. And it's not guaranteed you will get a cuddly dog, cat, bunny, fish. The time I tried to cuddle my fish was pretty hard, but after some minutes I understood that I didn't want it to hurt it and went all calmed. Good fish. Drug addiction. Self-harm cutting. To many emos having a rough time with a lifetime of regrets and scars. Way too romanticized in my opinion. Go listen to Icon for Hire, Under the Knife to get a feel by it. Vaping. Yes, it's healthier than cigarettes and I definitely do want people who are smoking to try switching to vaping for their health, but kids are getting an addiction at a very young age. Nicotine is extremely addicting, guys. It took me really long to break my habits and it has affected my mental and physical health so much to stop smoking. Worker crunch. Especially bad in dev communities. It is not healthy to work 140 hours weeks. That's only a 28 hours of sleep for 7 days if they go to bed without eating and have no commute. Having children. And I'll explain. I know a lot of people that aren't ready to have children. Mostly because they are poor. But because they see their friends or other family members having kids. And they want one, so they have one. Then their lives. And the childs are ruined forever. Stop having children if you can't take care of them. TTY relationships. Every relationship on TV or in movies would be a nightmare IRL. Functional. Adult relationships with good communication are interesting, so they don't get much airtime. The loss of good men in brutal wars. Drama. Expensive shoes. Like. I don't care about your overpriced Yeezys. Semicolon. 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 Oh. And don't get me started on diamonds. The good old days. They weren't. Money won't buy happiness. Bullshit. Having money to the point where I won't stress about debts or where I can pursue my interests without having to divert the time to work will indeed give me happiness. Even something materialistic like buying something you really want can bring happiness in a way. Edit. Yes, the phrase is taken out of context a lot. People also tend to romanticize it out of context a lot. I'm saying that no one should be ashamed of getting any sort of happiness from money. Whether it be a random shopping splurge or financial stability. The other thing is people say money alone won't give happiness. And I agree. But it can help. Abusive controlling relationships. i.e. Twilight. 50 Shades of Grey. No one would stay with those creeps in real life. No one would stay with those creeps in real life. That's not how the real world works. Many people stay in abusive, controlling relationships. LGBT relationships people. Semicolon. I don't mean adding some LGBT people to your story. Go out and do that, thanks. But there seems to be a strange fetish that some straight men have for lesbians. And some straight girls have for gay men. And some people have for trans people. It gets kinda nasty after a while. I'm so sick of 80% of the representation for my sexuality. I'm a being weird fetishish tea made for men. Thinking that when a woman says no she's just playing hard to get. Suicide. Stop that tea. I'm looking at you. 13 Reasons Why. A psychologist watched the show before it debuted and told Netflix not to air it because it romanticized suicide as a revenge fantasy. They did it anyway. Victimhood. Healthy people work through their bad experiences, situations and seek to heal from it and move on. Even if that means just managing it. Unhealthy, immature people hold on to their victimhood as part of their identity. Obesity. I've been seeing posts in social media lately about obese women wearing bikinis with a caption saying chubby is the new SI or don't follow society's standards. First of all, you are not chubby. You are morbidly obese, and if the standards you are talking about is health standards, then you should damn well follow it. P.S. I know that there are people who are fat but still live relatively healthy lives, so that's why I said obese and not fat. Get into shape or get into a coffin. Suicide. Go listen to Neon Gravestones by 21 Pilots. Depression. It's not a beautiful melancholy that makes woeful poems run through your thoughts and shroud your character in depth and mystery. It f***ing destroys you inside. You feel empty. Void. Nothing. Except for occasional irritation at things, people, yourself, and painful confusion at why you can't feel happy anymore. You lose interest in things you were previously passionate about. You're constantly emotionally and physically exhausted. Can't think clearly, and a bunch of other debilitating side effects that certainly shouldn't be ignored. Anyone who feels like this needs to seek professional help. It gets better. Maybe not now. Maybe not tomorrow. But someday. And it's worth it to fight. Cause that's what depression is. A fight, not a waltz. And you can win. PTSD. Having children. Disney movies, goddammit. The 1950s. Moved. Drug addiction. It's not glamorous. It's shitty. It ruins lives. Make you go teethless. Shitty yourself. Lose everything. Doesn't make you look like a f***ing rockstar. Stop romanticizing the relationship between the Joker and Holly. I'm sick of people trying to defend abuse. Glad she was able to break free in more recent years. Mental illnesses. The Confederate States of America. Miraculous rags to riches stories. They perpetuate the bullshitty idea that anyone can make it if they just try hard enough. Which ends up demonizing people who can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps and become successful. Upward social mobility is a rarity. Especially in the US. Child abuse presented as a good parenting technique back in my day. Whenever someone says, "When I was a kid, I got whipped with a belt every day. And I turned out just fine," it makes me want to whip them with my belt to remind them just how awful it felt. And really, Larry, did you turn out just fine? Because the evidence shows otherwise? Teen pregnancy. Nuff said. Pregnancy. My wife is having a f***ing terrible time. 7 months, and I am at my mental and emotional breaking point. Sickness. HG. Gestational diabetes. And mental breakdowns. Every single person in our lives told us it was the best thing ever, but it sucks so hard and we are both miserable. I hope having the actual kid will feel more rewarding and make it worth it. 1970s Britain. My dad says it was complete garbage. Many of the nostalgic fashion trends were totally ridiculous even at the time, and it's only the very best and most popular music which has survived. Television was poor quality and mostly very boring. Dreadful old-fashioned view of relationships as well. You were expected to be married by 25. No cohabiting before you tied the knot. Homophobia was rife and everyone who wasn't straight was just branded homosexual even if they were actually bisexual or trans. Everyone was skint and there was high inflation. Most jobs paid absolutely FCK all and many things were a lot more expensive than now. Especially cars, which were also terrible. The cartels. There's nothing good about them. The whole alpha male crap. Oh god. Call out culture. A bit of obvious answers. Stalker creep behavior being excused if the person is attractive. I heard some women the other day talking about the show You and how they wish that guy would stalk them. Paris. Once you get past the touristy stuff, it's just a big city with big city problems. And the Eiffel Tower is like a giant electrical grid. Communism. INB for downvotes and THAP WAS and Realco MMonism. Communism jokes are only funny if everybody gets them. Obsessive compulsive disorder does not make you tidy or more efficient. It makes you react harmfully to changes in routine or unexpected events. There is nothing cute or quirky about OCD. I have struggled with OCD my entire life, and whenever I hear someone say I have to have my books in alphabetical order, I'm so OCD lol. It just makes me sad that people misunderstand it so much. Suicide. Mommy martyrdom. When I became a mother, my own mom told me to take care of myself because a happy mom makes happy children. This whole culture of completely stopping your life and only existing to serve your kids is ridiculous. It's okay to maintain an identity that is separate from motherhood. It's okay to have hobbies, interests, a career, etc. Wealth, status. It's all pretty pointless. Romeo and Juliet. It was a tragedy. An infatuated relationship that resulted in multiple deaths. Not to mention it was with a 13-year-old. Playing hard to get. It's basically asking someone to not respect your wishes or boundaries. Which right off the bat is a red flag for any relationship. Not sure if people have noticed this, but psychopaths and sociopaths, they're broken and shouldn't be treated with awe as some people do. BBC Sherlock anyone? Utter crap. Sports. The sports themselves are okay. People liking sports is fine. But when you treat athletes different from other people just because they play football, that's the problem. The need to constantly be in a relationship. Being single isn't the end of the world. Pirates. They were murdering, ARPing, thieves with no redeeming qualities. Why dress like one at Halloween? The last part of your post doesn't correlate with the rest. You're supposed to evoke images of fear and dread on Halloween. Same reason dress up as demons. That everyone should go to university. The fact is it's simply not a guaranteed route to employment. Even then, you're just as likely to end up in some awful sales job in a bank, like I found myself in. That's not saying I see no value in education. The lessons I learned about critical thinking and school's impact on my communication are invaluable. But after 7 years slaving away in the bank I became a heavy-duty mechanic. I'm happy. I earn more than I ever could at the bank without being a more miserable, medicated WH-ray for a soulless institution that pretends to be pro-social while routinely taking advantage of the low financial literacy of the poor and lower middle class. Mental illness. People born into riches being obnoxious with spendings. They're being idolized in social media and painting a false image of what ought to be. Probably a lot of youths who feel pressured to spend too much money on designer clothes and expensive cars because of it. Manic pixie dream girl bullshit thinking it's unique or deep to suffer from mental illness. You're not cute because you white knuckle your way into a illness or even fake one to come off edgy whilst other people struggle to get through their day with chronic mental illness. Poverty. You sometimes see it being portrayed like it helps you appreciate the true things in life and just a bit stop before greater things. But poverty just makes everything more difficult. You don't have money enough to take risks to make money. And poverty reduces your cognitive abilities, making it even harder to escape it. Any time before indoor plumbing was widespread. Big pickup trucks. Mufflerless motorcycles. Gender norms in dating. When people insist on needing a perfect gentleman or a perfect woman. Not just because it's an unreasonable expectation, but when they realize that someone's a person or push against those conventions. They tend to bemoan that they don't fit those molds. Girl, you gotta go ask guys out sometimes. Relieve the pressure. Make him feel special by taking him out to dinner. Dudes, chicks aren't always trying to be cute. Sometimes chicks just wanna dick around and be crude too. Cigarettes. Why the hell is every rebellious tough guy on television smoking them like a moron?